My name is Twanda Blake with Interrupted Blogs, and I'm here with Tonya Lewis Taylor, Executive Director, founder of the Entertainers for Education Alliance I Will Graduate program.
Amazing organization that I founded along with my husband 20 years ago. Can you believe it's been 20 years? And the organization really started as a way to give back to a local school who knew that I was an executive in the business, and asked if I could bring a celebrity to the school to encourage the kids to start to come to school, because at that time there was a dropout crisis in New York City and the students weren't coming to school. So I just used my resources to encourage that particular school. And then I started getting requests from other principals. Can you bring a celebrity to my school? We don't have, our attendance is low. This will help, invigorate the school. And from there, 20 years later, we do arts and education programs. We have counseling programs, mentoring programs, college education programs. We have sports and arts programs. We help kids get through college. We provide scholarships and all types of different assistance to build strong young people, strong communities, strong families. And so I'm very excited about what we've been doing, and we're just looking forward to great things.
How did you come up with the name for that program?
So I am a musician. I'm an artist. My earlier years, I performed and traveled. I wanted to be a star.
Oh, yes.
and I sing, and being in the business, it's a very hard business, because you're on the road, you're traveling, you're doing backup. I've sung backup for a lot of people like Gerald Levert, Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey. I've done some stuff, and so when you've done that kind of stuff, you know a lot of people, and I just thought the organization, if I can pull together all of my resources with people I've met through the years, and then turning my singing career into a behind the scenes music career, which led me to Jay-Z, Roc-A-Fella label, and then from there to start my own PR firm. I think that was the reason why I named the organization Entertainers for Education Alliance, because I wanted these people who I've worked with to help me give back to our communities and inspire young people.
So amazing.
And the name, the I Will Graduate program, really just was spawned out of us wanting young people to take ownership of graduating. Thus the mantra, I will graduate.
I love that. So with the focal point on that, and you said that the dropout rate was high, what was that number back then opposed to now?
At that time, when we went to that school, about 7,000 students were dropping out of school each day nationwide. And in New York City, we had a graduation rate of about 33%. And so I wasn't aware of that. I was hustling. I was in the industry. I was very fortunate, very blessed. And I was really oblivious to what was happening in my own city. And that day, that principal, we brought Roc-A-Fella Records to the school, and we brought all of the artists, and they performed, and we adopted that school, and we started sending them posters and all types of things to inspire the kids, and music and CDs. That's when CDs were back nobody was out CDs. But I think we were even giving out cassette tapes. Maybe not cassette tapes, but definitely 20 years ago we was giving out CDs. Right. But the bottom line is that we developed this organization to really just utilize our platform to give back, and fast forward, look at where we are 20 years later.
Wow, that's amazing. Just to even keep it going this long, the need for it is still here. It's not going to go away. So you created a great program, just in general, even for people who's in a different state that can look at that and say, hey, how can I be part of that? So congratulations with that. You also, how do you select kids for that program, or the schools, or do you reach out to the schools? How does that work?
So we're fortunate. We have been extremely organized and fortunate in writing grants. So we get grants and we write grants and we get into schools. Our goal is to work in the schools that are in areas that are the most underserved communities, because we want to help those young people who we know need the extra help to succeed and be all that they were called to be. And so we work in those communities. And so, we kind of sort out, we search out students who may need that extra support. And the schools identify the students that need the extra support. So that's pretty much how we get it done.
I love it. And I watched a few of your interviews where, you had some major stars come out. Like, what is the response with the kids when those stars come out that they wish they could meet and finally do?
It's amazing because, for us, when we started this organization, we were seeing that our young people were not valuing education, and that was a problem. We was like, what's happening? Right. So we actually started to kind of market education to the kids in a cool way. Right. And one of the ways that you have to do that is by reaching into pop culture, whoever's popular at the time. Right. You got to reach in to get them to kind of help you push your message. And so, it made things so much easier for us when, Bow Wow showed up. And right. It's like, I love Bow Wow, or, Damon John from the creative Shark Tank, the creative FUBU. He's on this show, Shark Tank. It shows up and spends, almost 2 hours just talking and imparting to, our students. We just had Lala Anthony right before the holidays, and we did it virtually, of course, because we haven't been able to do anything live, but we just had Lala. And then about a month ago, we had Joseph Sikora. He plays Tommy on Power. So, we've been really blessed, and my goal is to just really keep this going so that young people understand that they can be great, and they just have to apply themselves and want to be great. And we will then do our part to put the wind beneath them and the battery in their back to make sure they get to where they need to go.
You put battery in my back just by saying that.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Everybody, we have to help each other.
Yes, it's empowering. You seem like a very inspiring and motivating person for starters, just a dominant queen. What is one of your powerful moments of impact that helped a child with this program?
Oh my God, the story that we always tell is of one of our babies. Our program had just been, we were only in how we actually got into doing programs is a story unto itself, because I was running a very successful PR firm and making very, very, very good money, traveling all over the country with all of the A-list artists we were handling and doing events and so on and so forth. And so I was very comfortable. But when we did the school visit, one school called and said, hey, can you come to my school and run a program? And so we started with this one program at a school where they asked us to come in. And there were all of these kids, and there was this one kid that was really rough around the edges, a little short kid, little stubby kid came in, but he had a little cockiness about him, a little confidence. And he went through the program and became like extremely interested. We did a recording studio program at that school because they wanted something. So we built a $500,000 state-of-the-art studio with the help of the city council member, Charles Barron. And we had this program. We did a big celebration to, open this program. And this one kid, Rondell, and he went through the program, graduated. It was middle school, went through high school, went through college. He is now an engineer with the New York City, He makes probably something like $90,000 a year. He's about 22, maybe 23 now. And he comes back to everything and always souls back into the program. And so that's one of our fondest moments. And we have, teachers, students who become teachers, who become police officers, who are in cosmetology, who have their own businesses. I mean, it's just amazing.
The testimony, it is amazing. I'm so happy for you and proud of you, just to do this for 20 years, to have these testimonies that, would you say this keeps you going?
Well, it's one of the things, I'm a busy woman. So, to whom much is given. And, I look at the parable of those in the Bible, and the ones with the master gave them gifts and talents. And some had one gift and talent, and some had 3, and some had 5, and some had 10. And so the one with the one buried his talent. And when the master came back and asked him, "Where's your talent?" he said, "Oh, I buried it because I didn't want to lose it. But what we were supposed to do is to share and give our talents." And so I'm the person, I have a lot of talents. So this is just one of many things that I believe that I'm called to do. And it kind of all ties into the thread of my life, which is to serve and to inspire. So
yes, it is. You're inspiring me just on a queen level of stepping my game up, number one, and just always pursuing, never conforming, always pursuing. So thank you for that. Now, I looked at your website, and you have a focal point entering into the program. What is that?
So we developed, the PSA that we produced is called Gun Violence Destroys Families. I was sitting home in the summer, 2020, just passed, and there was a news warning that gunfire in the area. And then it flashed across the screen that 2 youth had been shot. Literally maybe 8-10 blocks from where I live. And at that moment, I realized that, we had gone from bad to worse, because throughout this whole pandemic, we saw the rise in gun violence in our neighborhoods. Right. And it just started getting closer and closer to home. And sometimes you don't think about it until it's right there in your face. And I said, you know what, I got to do something. And so I contacted the borough president, Eric Adams, and I said, Eric, what can we do? And we talked about some ideas, and then we said, let's develop a program. We were supposed to do a big press conference, and it didn't work out. And so I asked the students, I said, if we do this program, what would make other young people listen to your message? And they said, "Oh, Miss Lewis, if we have," because they still call me by my maiden name, "Miss Lewis, if we had a rapper and somebody," and I said, "Who?" And everyone unanimously said Pop Smoke. And of course, Pop Smoke was deceased. And so we thought if we could have the parents speak, it could be powerful. And so that's how we came up with the PSA. And so the 8-week program is that these young people are going to be agents of change. They are developing amazing campaign to combat the violence in their communities. So they're asking for the city to provide more jobs for them, more recreational programs, more engagement in the community. They will be reaching out to their city council members and developing relationships with their city council members so that they can get changes in their community. They will be reaching out to the police department, developing relationships and talking about ways that they can combat gun violence in a safe way so that the youth in the neighborhood don't feel threatened by the police, and we're all working together. So there's all of these different things that these young people, amazing young people, have come up with, and we're just implementing all of this for them. So because at the end of the day, we have to come together and make the change that we want to see.
Right. And with that PSA and coming together with Pop Smoke's parents, what was that experience like? I know it was very humbling.
Always humbling. I knew going into it, I had not met the parents prior to, so I met them on the day of the shoot. And they're just gracious and just very, as you said, humbling to be in the presence of, these two strong people who are trying to honor their child's legacy, but at the same time, it's extremely difficult. So we were very grateful that they allowed us to have this opportunity to film this PSA, and so that young people understand that when you make decisions that are rash, and you make a decision where you take someone else's life, after you do that, this is the devastation that's left behind. And so we wanted to send that powerful message, and we hope the PSA does that.
I think it's very well received, very powerful, sad at the same time. And with the PSA, you have an 8-week program. So what's the first week like in that 8-week program?
So the students are on week 2. Actually, they just got off. They go on at, I think, around 3:30. And so today they were talking about, I saw the lesson plan curriculum. So we have staff that handles that, but disparities in their communities and ways that they can understand that the resources that they need to bring into their communities that are lacking in their communities. So that's the lesson, because remember, gun violence stems from a whole host of systemic issues. And so that's one of the ways that we're seeing the effects of the gun violence, of what's happening in society through gun violence. But at the end of the day, gun violence is really just really a symptom of what has already been happening in our communities. And so without the resources, we cannot build strong communities, and we cannot build strong young people. And so that's really what the goal is.
How do you go about, because they say, it's a lot of stuff on social media as well. So how do you train them that not to follow those things on social media, to kind of use their common sense when making those tough decisions?
So, as I mentioned, we have a host of programs. We're always teaching, we're always doing workshops. We talk about the dangers of, internet safety, cyberbullying, and all of that stuff. So we try to educate the young people on, best practices. What is the best way to present yourself? And we teach them a lot about life skills, about making smart choices and setting goals and things that's going to help them. So they look past where they are now, and they look to, in 3 years, in 5 years, and the choices that you make today affects your tomorrow. So we try to teach them those things along the line so that they are able to make really good, smart choices.
Okay, I love that. So with that, I have one last question. You seem very goal driven, and I think that it's such an awe-inspiring quality for dreamers and doers. And with that, why is it important for them to persevere? It seemed like you just, for whatever reason, that is your mentality throughout life, persevere no matter what. So why should they do that?
Well, I would love to give a very philosophical answer, but I just got to go back to my old school upbringing. I was raised by a bunch of old folk from the South. And they would say stuff like, baby, you can't go back, so you got to go forward.
That's right.
So when you look at the simplicity of that statement, perseverance is really, you don't really have an option because you're in a spot where you can't stay where you are and you can't go back. So you only have one choice, which is to push forward. And so you just need to do it intentionally, because one way or the other, you're going to be pushed forward because you can't go back. And
Right.
you can't stay where you are because things are always moving around you. So you have to still push forward, but you got to do it intentionally. So that's what I just say. Just keep it real simple, baby. You can't go back. So listen, you just got to go forward. That's
I
it.
love it. Like if you're pivoting right now, y'all just go forward. Do not stay stuck.
Listen, you can cry, you can do all of the stuff that we do. We have emotions, we go through our issues, but at the end of the day, we got to dry tears, we pick ourselves up, and we just move on.
Amen. I love it. So
That's
give
it.
our viewers and listeners your website address and your links to follow you. If you have any engagements upcoming, let us know about those too.
Absolutely. So again, I'm Tonya Lewis Taylor, and the name of the organization is called Entertainers for Education Alliance, and the program is called the I Will Graduate program. We are located on social media, on the website, on the World Wide Web at iwillgraduateprogram.com, and you can find us on social media, I Will Graduate Program, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things. And if you want to reach me, you can also find me on the World Wide Web, TonyaLewisTaylor.com. And my handles on social media is I am Tonya Lewis Taylor.
I do have one more question. You have a day set aside just for you. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, are you talking about our I Will Graduate Day?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So we, for the last 20 years, have done an event called I Will Graduate. Well, it hasn't been 20 years. So the organization has been around. So I think I need to find out, but we may be in the 15th year or something. But I Will Graduate Day is a celebration of education that we do every year. It is a huge deal in New York City. We do the largest youth empowerment celebration in New York City's history, and we do it annually. And we bring out thousands of students. We bring them, we pack them in to a location. Our 2020 celebration, we just did it right before the pandemic took us all out on January 9th. It was at King's Theater, thousands of students. And it was amazing. We always bring out, celebrities and public figures and a bunch of people that can inspire our young people. And it's amazing. And we've gotten proclamations from the mayor and the governors and declaring I Will Graduate Day for the city and state of New York. So I'm very proud of that.